It is Friday. I can't tell you how amazing and awesome you are. You make me feel so good. I can't even tell you. I go out there and I see people. I want to know people. I want to conversate with people. I can strike up a conversation with a homeless person. Yesterday, I did that. Got to talking to him, asked him, of course, I bought him lunch. And what I did for that, nothing was free. So I basically wanted to speak to him and see what his situation was and how he wound up getting in a homeless situation. And it's really a thing where a lot of it is based on you, but some of it is not. He was a really good guy, fell down on his luck, and we did a little something for him to make sure that he was good for the next, I want to say 4 hours. But in any case, you are it. There is nothing more to say. You are it. You are the party. You are the one that determines whether this system goes up, down, left, or right. The problem is they've created a force against you that you think you have no control of. That's the problem. You think you have no control of that. You understand? Now, I wanted to go over a little bit of what is explained through a plea, P-L-E-A, plea. What do you do when you plea? Well, to me, in a couple of words, you're begging. Yeah, you're begging. You're saying, look, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do the best I can to try and make it so that you misinterpret everything that goes on here in this courtroom. That's what you basically do. You see the over here, it says shalom right here. See? It says shalom right there. It's a Jewish term or a religious term in Hebrew. But anyway, going over this word plea, before I get into something or before I get into the public to public scheme and the private to public scheme, a little bit more on the process that they run on you when you go to sign your name on one of their contracts, on one of their promissory notes, how you give that away. Okay. First, I wanted to go into the word of the day. Excuse me. I had a really hard workout yesterday. I focus a lot on diet and exercise. By the way, there is nothing that can compare to keeping you healed than exercise. Nothing. I don't care what anyone says. This is clear. It's been already proven 100 times over. Exercise takes you to the next level of being godly. Now, going over this word plea, I'm going to show this to you really quickly, okay? In blacks, see? This is the best dictionary to get for the most part because it has the Code of Federal Regulations, it has even the statutes in there, it has even the constitutional location of certain things. It's this, but make sure you get this edition right here. You see this Centennial Edition. See? Get this one right here. It is the best one. Buy this one first. Okay. Now, there's about a page and a half of plea here. Remember, when you plead guilty, you kill all recognized and unrecognized defenses. You kill it all. So you have to be ready to understand that a not guilty plea is going to put you in a position to where you have to become sage and knowledgeable, which means you're going to have to spend a significant amount of time on your butt. Yeah, reading, sitting down. Okay. Now look, I wanted to show you this. I think I went over this before in another video, but it says plea in common law pleadings, now obsolete with the adoption of rules of civil procedure. A pleading, anyone in the series of pleadings, more particularly the first pleading on the part of the defendant, in the strictest sense, okay? In the strictest sense, excuse me, I lost my space. Particularly the first pleading on the part of the defendant. In the strictest sense, the answer which the defendant in an action at law made to the plaintiff's declaration, and in which he sets up a matter of fact and defense, thus distinguished from a demur, okay? Demur, which interposed objections on grounds of law, okay? Now, under this, it says, in equity pleading, now obsolete. That is wrong. That is wrong. It's not true, okay? In equity pleading, now obsolete with adoption of rules of civil procedure, a special answer showing or relying upon one or more things as a cause why the suit should be either dismissed or delayed or barred. A short statement in response to a bill in equity of fact which, if inserted in a bill's, would render it demurrable. It doesn't apply to you or this place. That's why that's wrong. Okay? Now, you can make a plea in equity because it says over here on this side, okay? Special plea and plea of discharge. They're saying in common law pleading, one which admits the plaintiff had a cause of action, but shows that it was discharged by some subsequent or collateral matter as payment or accord and satisfaction, abolished under rules of civil procedure. That's not true. They have to abide by it. They have to, they can do it. They can do it. This is wrong. I found a couple of flaws in some of these books. Okay. And then special plea. In the common law pleading, a special kind of plea in bar, distinguished by this name from the general issue and consisting usually of some new affirmative matter, through it may also be in the form of a traverse or denial. Okay. Now, the moment you say not guilty, you traverse over, you go right over. In equity, none of that is necessary. None of that is necessary. Over here in equity, it tried to say in equity pleading, now obsolete with adoption of rules of civil procedure. Rules of civil procedure can't go over equity. Equity is above the law. Okay? Equity corrects mistakes. Okay? That's a fact. I got to get some equity books in here, man. Now, let's go over to Burton's Legal Thesaurus to see what they say. What are the synonyms of it? Okay? So, plea. Okay? Okay, plea. Allegation, answer, arguments at the bar. In equity, we don't argue. We don't argue in equity. Okay? At the bar, charges, defense. These words you're not going to know. Statement, allegations in defense, statement alleging in jurisdiction, statement of defense, statement which answers the charge, statement of behalf of the defense. Okay? Associated concepts. Entering a plea, plea in abatement, plea in bar. See, plea in abatement. Okay? Plea in abatement. Plea in equity. Plea in equity. This says plea in equity, and that one says you can't. What did it say? Something about equity and pleading. plea of estoppel, plea of guilty, plea of insanity, plea of no le contendere, plea of not guilty, plea of payment, okay? Plea of recoupment, plea of release, plea of self-defense, plea of set off. Says it right here, bro. Look, against plea in set off. Look at this right here. And this is an important word, set off, because that's what you're doing. Plea in, let me see, plea in, hold on, give me a second, because I want to show you this word. Plea in set off. Right here. See, look, I keep trying to turn this thing around and it keeps turning around on me. You see, plea in set off. Right there at the bottom right here. Right there. See it? Plea in set off. So having said that, going over a little bit more, I'm going to try to explain to you a little bit more of the scenario that's going on here and understanding this. So where do we leave off? We left off at the public to scheme and the private to public scheme that they run on us, okay? But first, I wanted to go over a scripture from the Bible. Once again, Christianity is where the laws are coming from. It doesn't matter what color you are, what race you are, what religion you practice, because all the religions have the same principles. So I wanted to go over liberty part of the Bible and what it explains in the religious books. 2 Corinthians 3:17. Now the Lord is that Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Okay, 2 Corinthians 3:17. Okay, mark that down and study it, okay, as best you can. Now, the public scheme that these so-called member banks are running on us goes as follows. Now, I'm going to talk slow. The public to public scenario or scheme that created the merit, the worth, the practicality or the principle, the value, okay, on the previous explanation, the study that we did before, okay, is the right for the bank or lender to foreclose, okay? These are assets on the bank's books. Now, you gave them the right to foreclose. What they do here is they follow GAAP, generally accepted accounting principles, okay? It's a double bookkeeping entry, an asset and liability on their books, a digital book though, okay? The reason is an asset is because as soon as they make the final deposit, they can create 10 times that amount right out of thin air. You just gave it to them. It's a liability because they have to reciprocate it back to you. They have to give it back, okay? They change the species of it, put it in the computer and give it to you. So the explanation that we give is the right to foreclose. They toss it on their books, the use of public credit in return for that promissory note you just gave to them, and the extension of public credit, okay? The private to public scheme value section in the previous interpretation or the study or explanation that we did is the man's or woman's signature on the note and the liability on the bank's books, okay? In return for an extension of private credit to make possible the extension of public credit, okay? Try and follow me here. there can be no public credit without getting credit from the private side first. Okay? Now, the people in the 50 states are the only ones that have credit and have the utmost authority in equity. Okay? Good morning that you understand that, because they are the only ones with the energetic force, the energy that does not belong to someone or anyone else or anything in the universe. It's just the universe is attached to everything. Okay? These fictions or these corporations, they don't have any energy of their own. So you have to go to you to get it. Since money of exchange, gold and silver, is no longer used in modern commercial systems or in our modern commercial system, credit is the medium of exchange through money of accounts. Okay, a digital system, a system of money that has no intrinsic value. Okay, now this system can work for you or can work against you. Okay, here's the diagnosis here. You are allowing for these corporate fictions to take your chastity, okay, something so precious, and use it to their advantage without you understanding that you can extend what it is that they're doing as well. Anyone who is buying a home and is looking to pay for it for 30 years, 40 years, buy a car, looking to pay for it for 10 years, certain amount of time, depicted on the contract is not using their potential to maximize its ability to do or create to the fullest. So this is what equity is. A lot of what people refer to as a secured party creditor. Okay. Now, money of accounts is digits on an accounting ledger, but it's a computerized accounting ledger. Okay. A lot of it does make it physical copy, but all loans in the public, okay, are necessarily must be made on private credit of the people. All the loans in the public all the loans in the public are furnished and must be made on the private credit of the people. Okay? Now, all the loans in the public necessarily must be made on the private credit of the people. Let me say that again. Okay? Now, it's just super important. The people have to supply private credit, okay? That public lenders extend to borrowers, okay? Remember, they're using the word borrower to trick you, because the word borrower is nothing less than a freeloader, a bum, a freeloader. That they do it and we do it. Now, it doesn't just apply to you, but it applies to them as well, okay? But they're using underhanded legalese to display this to you. It's a very sophisticated form of slavery, okay, that you're not made aware of. No wonder, or you figure, that the lenders always say they're extending credit. If you ask them, they'll tell you that. Where's this coming from? They'll say they're extending credit to you, but they won't know what that means, okay? They don't tell you where it extends it from, okay? The private side, the skullduggery. Now, they're extending the people's credit, okay, from the private side into the public and returning it to a fiction represented by one of the people. You understand? That straw man, okay, transmitting utility, value is given from both sides. Now, look at the word value. Value is accepted on both sides because you volunteer for it. okay, they would only be value on one side if you didn't volunteer. Now, you just don't know what to do with it. Now, when you sign contracts, I want you to notice, when you sign contracts, I want you to notice that when you put a restricted signature on a contract with something like without recourse, they'll come back to you and say, we can't accept it. They'll give it back to you. It's a trick. This in the Uniform Commercial Code 1-201, the definition is in Article 1 of the Uniform Commercial Code, right? So it does not apply to Article 3, negotiable instruments, but it is requested, okay? It's obligatory to understand the deceitfulness of value, to understand what they say in regular everyday parlance, and the patriot community is acceptance for value, which is actually taken for value. Taken for value does exist in the Uniform Commercial Code. All you people who want to ramble on and say acceptance for value is not real. It's ridiculous. It makes no sense at all. Both words do exist, and you know what we mean. Now, the following explanation or study that we're doing here of 1-201A, okay, look that up, deals with a public person. It deals, not a man, a public person created by the United States as the debtor and the United States as the creditor, okay? Listen, as well as the United States as the debtor and a private man as the utmost creditor through the public person you appear for or are regarded as, okay, or that you represent. These are still dealing with persons and credit under public policy, okay? Now, public policy. You have to understand that in dealing with all this, you have to be in strict understanding that you are the man and woman, okay? Not the person off rip. But because you possess a social security number, you have to understand that they have a contract with you. And you have to understand that, let's say, for example, in a child support case, you can rescind the marriage contract. You can rescind any contract that you sign with the state, but the state has the ability to come back at you because that person who has a social security number, who's saying that you need to pay child support, which is strictly under her control. This is why you have to learn to get people to commit to something that they don't want to commit to. So, for example, I'm not teaching you how to be a deadbeat dad. I'm not teaching you how to do this because I know women who are getting railroaded by men, okay? And one of the children is with the woman and one of the children is with the man. It becomes a mess when you sign a marriage contract through the state. It's a patented process, marrying the couple to the state, not to the couple to each other, okay? So be careful. I'm not saying you shouldn't marry through the state because there are a lot of benefits for you to have through marrying through the state. It just depends on how much you know and how much you're willing to volunteer for. Now, having said that, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Some guy came up to me and said, look, I'm dating this girl. I don't, want to necessarily commit to all these things that she wants to do. How can I go about giving her a commitment but not signing a contract with the state? I said, look, marry her under the common law. Get a marriage Bible, get a witness, which is a notary public, and then get two witnesses. The Bible says three witnesses. I think the Bible says 3 witnesses or 2. You get 2 witnesses and have them sign verifying that beautiful moment. You don't have to go down to the courthouse and do it. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Now, Another scenario is where a guy approached me and he asked me if what is it that he could do. He said the woman wanted to have a child with him, but he didn't want to be obligated under the state's rules. And I believe him. He had a good job. I got to know him for a little bit, for about 6 months to a year. And I didn't want to help him because I didn't realize what his true intentions were. But he had a good job. He was close to his girlfriend. They wanted to have a baby. But he pulled me off to the side and he said, listen, I want to do this, but I don't want to do this under the state. I said, well, listen, why don't you get her to sign something? You get her signing a contract saying that you will take care of your child, but under your private capacity. You're not going to state, and she will sign saying that she will agree to that. That's it. That's what you do. This is how you avoid this craziness. Now, some guys, everyone needs to take care of their responsibilities. Everyone does. Okay. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. Okay. I'm saying that you should. That's why I don't help people with child support, because I only help a few people that I know, guys that are going to stay with it. I mean, we're actually battling right now in court with a child support case, and they want to battle. You came to the right place, because I'm going to keep them up way past their bedtime. Okay. I'm looking up the case law and I'm getting it in with this dude. Okay. He's out in Louisiana. Now, having said that, because I've heard of women saying that they want a child with a man, and later on they get attached to the man, and there was only a condition to have the child and take care of the child. I'm not teaching anyone to be a deadbeat dad. What I'm trying to say is, if you're going to engage in things of this nature, put a contract in front of the person. If they really want that commitment from you, they'll commit to a contract. Show poop or get off the bowl. It's that simple. Everything should be put in writing. Okay. I was in a special condition. Not me. Somebody came to me and they were in a special condition. The woman wanted to have a baby with this man. He was an extremely good looking man, like yourself here. Well, anyway, he was an extremely good looking guy, and she wanted a child from this guy. Now, he wasn't sure if there was more than that to it, where she just wanted to be with him and tie him down. We put a contract together explaining that he would take care of that child. He would be in writing, be there for that child, pick up that child, take the child to the park, do all the responsibilities necessary, because he didn't have any children. So you see the situation here. She wanted a child from this guy. She was actually very pretty as well. So you see the scenario I'm trying to create here. Yes, you can. Anybody who says that you can't put a contract together with a woman or vice versa, saying that you're just going to have a child with them and you're going to handle the finances and everything through your private side, she or he will sign up and waive all of their rights because you want to make an agreement with that person. You can do that. You can do that. This is not legal advice. If you want legal advice, go hire an attorney. Okay. Now, having said that, I reserve all my rights with explicit reservation without prejudice, because this is a touchy situation. This is a situation that most people don't talk about in the world. Yes, there is men that just want to have a baby with a certain woman, and there are women who just want to have a baby with a certain man. So if there's no underlying intention of doing something deceitful, the person would have to sign a contract. You can get that person, instead of that person later on saying, no, this money ain't good enough for you. And no, hold on. We agreed to this. And I have the contract. The courts will honor it. Yes, they will. They will honor that you gave away all your rights to that child. Not all, but unfortunately, when it comes to custody, it's either an all or nothing thing. You can't just say, I don't want to be taken for child support, and she has to be abide by it. You have to give up custody as well to a certain extent. Now, you see what I'm trying to get to here? I put a very complicated situation that's frequent in America. Frequent. It's not spoken about, where someone wants to have a child, a woman with a man, and vice versa, a man with a woman. But then they go to court and they turn around and they say, oh no, because they want to be with that person after the child is born. And that person doesn't want to be with them. So they say, I want more child support. I want more this. I want more that. You see? So it's always to get everything in writing. Before you get a little ooh la la with anyone, this is my advice. Put a contract together just in case something happens. Everything in writing. We don't operate over here like that at You Became the Money. You understand? Always put everything in writing, even if it's on a piece of paper with regular pen and paper. That's better than nothing, okay? And have a witness that like a notary public, okay? And maybe another witness, okay? Look, it was amazing talking to you. It's Friday. The keyword of the day is plea. Look it up, study it, get it down. Thank you for your attention. I really appreciate you.